Welcome everybody to this new weekly Forex forecast and outlook. The concept this time is a little bit different. I'm trying something new out with my videos. So I used to do a little preview of what I was going to tell you in the first 20-25 seconds, and after that my intro followed. And now, if everything's still alright, you have first seen the intro clip, and I'm going to introduce this video. So let me know what you think of that concept, and I'll evaluate all of the analytics on how it's working. I think this is better because we'll get right into the video and you'll gain the information as soon as possible. So having said that, we are actually going to do a weekly forecast and outlook on some of the most traded Forex pairs. We will look at it technically, but also at the end of this video I'll go over a small fundamental analysis looking at all of the news events of the upcoming week. So the pairs we are going to be looking at is the euro against the Australian dollar, the euro against the New Zealand dollar, the Great British pound against those two, the Great British pound against the Japanese yen and against the US dollar, and then lastly the Great British pound against the Canadian dollar. So almost all GBP pairs and two euro pairs, which I think are very good to trade in. So let's start with the technical analysis. Looking at the euro against the Australian dollar. There used to be a nice uptrend, but now it is actually broken through, and two things can happen right now, and I think those two things are that it's going to go in a consolidation, so it will probably move between this range. We also had a trade here from 1.56, which is actually going quite well. With the philosophy, this trade was that it is going into a consolidation. But I'm not quite sure actually. So this might have been just a small day trade and I'll just grab like 60 or 90 pips off of it. So what could also happen is that it goes into a downtrend. You see that the pair was in a nice downtrend right here, and this could simply be a flag up and that it continues to go down after this. But really it needs to break through that 1.56, and after that I still need to reassess a little bit more. If the price goes up again, I think the 1.59 area would be a very nice sell for the upcoming days, definitely this week. So yeah, stay on the lookout for that. Looking at the euro against the New Zealand dollar, we kind of have the same. It was in a downtrend, now a small consolidation. And from such a consolidation, two things can basically happen. It continues in a downtrend, or it actually is a reversal pattern. To be honest, with it breaking through all of these support trend lines, was one here, here, and here, it kind of looks like it's going to go in a downtrend again, and that's why I think the 1.6550, basically the retest off of this key level and the trend line, could be a very nice trade. Yeah, so I will be trading that. It might go wrong because it is in a consolidation and not in a real, and it's not starting to downtrend, but I'm willing to take that shot. In the end, trading is always a chance game. So yeah, I'm gonna go for this trade. If the price does some really sudden bullish moves, I might opt out of the trade, but I'll definitely let you know on my Instagram page, so that you'll be updated as well. So that's basically what I'll be looking out for the euro against the New Zealand dollar. Then the Great British pound against the Australian dollar. Also had a nice trade right there as shown in the forecast last week. You can also always go back to other forecasts. That's the good thing about these videos. You can actually check what happened to my setups or what I tell you. And you'll find out that a lot of my setups are quite good. I don't mean to be arrogant in that, but they have been. So yeah, if you don't believe me, you can just check it out in the last videos. So the Great British pound against the Australian dollar, kind of the same as with the euro pair. It is going up quite well. It's looking like a nice uptrend, but I also could see it go into a consolidation, and I actually thought that this would be the lower bound, but it might actually drop down a little lower still. It might even drop down to this trend line. I'm not going to take a trade on that. The only trade I actually have set for this is at 1.8750, somewhere around that, anywhere between that and 8727. I will be putting a trade there. There just enough trend lines there. There's a trend line crossover, and it's a very nice key level. So we'll be trading that, but I'm not sure if it will reach that. We'll just have to wait and see. Then the Great British Pound against the Canadian dollar, basically waiting for this 1.68 buy. As you can see, this pair has been in a consolidation for quite a while, for a few years actually. You can see here it made some bearish moves, but it's just moving sideways now. Had a failed trade from this area last week already, I believe. Now it retested a little bit, but it could also go up again, that it just found support here at 1.69 basically, and that it will now move to the upper bound again, but then it really needs to break through the 71.50 at first, and it might find resistance here at the 72.75 probably. But yeah, I need to reassess that. To be honest, right now there are not really any other setups than 1.68 buy. Then looking at the Great British Pound against the Japanese yen, has seen a very big bull move. So it was in a consolidation, but this bull move also breaking through the 156 resistance area. I think this bull move indicates that we're going into an uptrend again after this very big bull move right here. And to jump in on that bull trend or on that uptrend, I will place a buy at 154, I believe this is, but I'll actually place it a little bit above at the 38.2 FIP. If the price goes up a little bit, I'll just move my buy entry level together with the 38.2. I think the 38.2 at the Great British Pound against the Japanese yen is just a very strong support level all the time. So I'll be taking that trade as well, but it might even not reach this and just bounce off of the 23.6, but I'm not going to take that risk. Then the Great British Pound against the New Zealand dollar. My opinion, this is moving quite weird as well. It was like an uptrend right here, but the EMAs tell us that it was kind of a consolidated uptrend. And now it is still making higher lows and higher highs, but I'm not quite sure. It's actually not making higher highs. It's making higher lows right here. So, to be honest, I'm not quite sure on this pair. It actually broke through the lower bound here as well of this trend line. So it might break out to the downside. At least I'll have a 1.92 buy limit right here. Not quite sure if it will hit it, and I'm not quite sure whether this will be a swing trade or a day trade, but I'll just monitor it closely when it actually gets there. Also place a price alert just to be sure, and then I also think that if the price goes up until 1.98, which I think is even more unlikely, I'll place I've got a sell limit right there, so I'll sell from there. But anywhere in between, I just don't know right now. I just have to see some more confirmation of the price, whether it's going to go down or consolidate. In my opinion, it's not going to go up, but I could be wrong in that as well. We'll just have to see. If it goes up, I'll still sell from 1.98. Then the Great British Pound against the US dollar, which tends to move along with the Great British Pound against the Japanese yen. Although the latter actually showed us a very good bullish breakout, and the Great British Pound against the US dollar is not showing us that right now. It actually looks like it's still in a consolidation, but again, it had a bigger breakout to the downside here than the Great British Pound against the Japanese yen, because that pair actually held at this key level if you compare them. So I'm quite bullish, I think, on this price. I place this as a sell area, but don't sell from there. I don't think that's going to be a great sell. I think this could be a better break retest. So actually when it breaks above that, I think this could be a nice break retest area. And then the next resistance I will sell at is 1.40, which could be a swing trade or a day trade. Swing trade if it is in a consolidation, and day trade, I think, if it continues in an uptrend. But again, you'll just need to monitor it, kind of look at how the price is moving, what the economies of both countries are doing too, and then reassess if you really want to sell from that area if it comes close to it. So I'll just place a price alert there as well. So that was the last part we were going to do a technical analysis on, and in the next part I'll do a fundamental analysis on the economic events of next week. Alright, so now let's get to the economic events this week, which is also a very important part of the weekly forecast. You should always be prepared to what's coming, because some economic events can actually trigger very big moves in the Forex market. So I'm just going to go over it. We are on myfxbook.com. In my opinion, they have the best economic calendar, but I've also been using it for years, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. Then I'm just used to this. So quite a bit. It's quite a not a busy week. Only Friday is very busy. Monday we actually don't have any economic events, which in my opinion are important. None of these really cause big moves. The speech could. It's in 8 minutes, so you'll probably not see it after this video. So the speech could. Speeches can always, but they really have to say some weird things. So I'm not expecting that to cause a big move. Definitely not on Monday. Tuesday we have the RBA meeting minutes. Could be important. If you have the time, I'd recommend watching it. The same as Governor Bailey's speech. Panetta's speech is not that important. I always look at the building permits and the housing starts. I just think they are good economic indicators to kind of see what is going on with an economy without reading too much news articles and stuff. These are just plain numbers, the facts. So yeah, and all of these speeches are not very important. Again, if they say really weird things, then they will become important. But yeah, when they do, you'll definitely see that on your Forex news feed. If you follow an account as that on Twitter or something, you definitely hear about it. And then on Wednesday, inflation rate, very important. Inflation rate of the euro, very important. This was for the Great British Pound, of course. And also for Canada, the inflation rate, very important. 3 things to look out for on Wednesday. The rest, balance of trade for the Japanese yen, not really important. Then Thursday is already a little bit more busy. The annual report, definitely check that out. You don't have to check that out immediately at 6:30 GMT +1, but I mean, if you have the time, just read it. It's definitely it will definitely increase your knowledge of the Australian economy and the Australian dollar with it. Then the employment change and again the new housing for the Canadian dollar are very important. As always, every week I always look at the initial jobless claims and the continuing jobless claims. Again, very nice indicator to see how an economy is doing, and if it's starting to pick back up after all of the corona business and stuff. You can easily see with this, and this is an event that is going on every week, so you can actually compare week by week, which is quite rare but very valuable. Same goes for existing home sales. Also looking at consumer spending, that's important. And the Governor Lowe's speech of the RBA could be important. Again, this is not a speech where he's going to tell us that they are going to change the interest rate to 5% again. So don't pay too much attention to it. Just follow the news feeds on Twitter. There are a lot, and they'll tell you when something crazy happens. Then Friday, very busy day. Actually, I have the Australian dollar PMI, that's important. Consumer confidence, important. Inflation rate for the Japanese yen, important. Those are all for me in the night. Then in the morning, Great British Pound news, the retail sales year on year and month on month. I both pay attention to them. Then all of these European PMIs. Personally, I only look at the European and the German one. And the PMI of the Great British Pound, I didn't count that under European anymore, but that's important too. And then lastly, we have retail sales for the Canadian dollar. Both the year on year and month on month are important in my opinion. Again, just to see what consumers are doing in a country. If the consumers are spending, the economy is likely to go up, and that's good for the Canadian dollar, of course. And then lastly, we have the PMI for the US dollar. we'll also look out for that. Like these events late in the afternoon on a Friday can actually spark a lot of momentum because there's less volume, so the price becomes more volatile. So yeah, that's basically everything that's happening in the upcoming week, fundamentally seen and technically seen. And with that, we have reached the conclusion of this weekly Forex forecast. If you have any questions about this or you want to ask me anything else, just let me know down in the comments and I will make sure to respond to that as soon as possible. As for now, thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you in the next week. Bye.